Welcome to the Association 100 podcast. The A100 podcast is an extension of our Association 100 bi-monthly newsletter that focuses on best practices, top trends, helpful ideas, and smart strategies and tactics that work in the world of associations. The podcast will feature meaningful conversations with association professionals across the country, taking a deeper dive into trending topics, offering insights that both inform and inspire. Welcome back to our latest episode of the A100 podcast. I'm Colleen Gallagher, and I'm joined by my co-host Meghan Henning. Today, we're talking about the power of awards. It is award season after all. You got Golden Globes, Oscars, all that good stuff.
I love that. I feel like together, you and I are such a good combination on many levels, but certainly on this one. You have been on the judging side of awards for several years, and I've been on the writing the applications side of it. So one of the things that I just want to ask, do you think putting the effort into awards applications is worth it, and why?
I think it totally is on a couple fronts. So, I mean, one, the recognition, if you do win, is really important. It helps, show your value in the industry. It helps to communicate to members the value of an association. It communicates to your board members that you're doing your jobs well and you're, getting things done. So there's a lot of messages it can communicate. It's also a really good exercise in evaluating your work and helping you learn and improve towards the future. Because that's something we don't always stop to do, especially in the association world. You're going. You finish one campaign, move on to the next, and you haven't even taken time to learn from the last one. So it really helps you bring that focus to it.
Right. I would agree. I mean, because, with saying all that, do you think that awards planning and preparation should be part of an like every association's comms plan? It sounds like that.
I do. I would build it right into what you're doing. I mean, we always talk about the importance of measuring your efforts. This falls right into that. We talk about the importance of touting what you're doing for your members, letting them know, showing them that value proposition. Again, this is a huge component of that. So not including this or not thinking about this is a big missed opportunity.
Yeah, I would agree. Having been on the side of when I worked in an association, I think it would be great to allocate the time, because usually what happens, is you find out, there's an awards application and it's due in a week. So you run through that. So I do think that it would be great. I know that now that we're on this side of the aisle, it's great to be working with like associations who are making the time, because having been someone who didn't make the time all the time, I think it's best.
I hear you on that. In terms of the awards that are out there, do you think there is something for everyone in every association?
I do. As you and I have spoken, there's an association for everything, and there is an award for everyone. There are big awards like the ones that ASAE presents. There are big PR awards that, associations can take advantage of. There are international awards that you have. There's, the best lobbyist, leadership awards, service awards, awards in your community. And I think that, people and associations should take advantage of that, because there really is an award. And as you said, you get to leverage it. And I just think that that's, amazing. We have worked on, you and I, many awards applications, and, you apply and you take the time to research what awards are available to you. But again, I think that goes back to the allocating time, and even resources, but you could do this. And I do think you get a lot of mileage out of it.
Yeah, definitely. So you've written a lot of applications. This is your thing, I always say. Do you think there's an art to it?
I think there's an art in the sense that a lot of the applications are very specific. So they're not asking you these giant open-end questions, which would be harder to write. Lately, I think that the evolution of some of these awards in some respects has gotten easier and gotten harder. I'm working on one now where you get one sentence. I mean, just to ask something
Yeah.
like, how do you view yourself in one sentence? I mean, that's really challenging, but it, I think it makes you, again, going back to what you said, it's part of looking at who you are and what you've been doing. And I think that really is the art of it. It's, if you're doing this in-house, it's writing about all the things that your association is working on. And hopefully you're aware of all of that. And if not, you're talking to your colleagues and coworkers about how to do this. And I feel like after you get one under your belt, you start to really be able to see these in a particular way that you would know, like you read the question and be like, I know how to craft this. Like even just in your head, like even if you don't know what specific information you have, you think this, question should have X, Y, and Z. And now I need to find out if we have it. So I do think
Yeah.
there's somewhat of that.
I like that way of thinking about it. What do you like most about working on the awards applications?
It's all positive. It's all good news. I mean, in today's
True.
world where so many things are not good news, this is the best. People are so happy to tell you, how hard they worked on something and give you examples. And I just think it's such a positive way to look at something. And again, when I was on the side of it with the association, you're just reinforced like your message or your commitment about, why you work there. And you think, wow, we've done a lot of great work, because it is hard to stop and think, oh, like we've done this, this, and this. And it gives you that opportunity. So if you're somebody who's listening to this and you're writing them in-house, it really will make you feel very happy. And when you sort of announce all this, and hopefully you will tell your association, you'll communicate that we're applying for these awards. I wanted to give everybody an update. Here's what we did. It's just a very unifying experience, I think. So, I mean, speaking of that, but you've been on the judging side of awards. So what advice do you have for people like me writing the application?
I have been. So I've judged several awards. I've helped plan an awards program. I've helped develop an awards program. I've helped give judges of an awards program the criteria. So I feel like I have a pretty good handle on that side of things. I come back to that old saying that if you can't be profound, be brief. And even if you can be profound, be brief for awards. Judges are usually volunteers. They have other jobs. They have so much on their plate. Show them what you're doing. Tell them why it's great as quickly and concisely as you can. And then
That's good advice. Yes.
The big thing is follow the directions. I remember one award that I was a judge for, and I mean, this company clearly put so much time into their application, and they didn't enter in the right category, and the direction specifically said, including this type of work, it was a specific kind of work that they did, does not fit in this category. You have to enter it in this category. And instead of going back to them, the head of the award said, no, they're disqualified. So just follow the directions. I can't stress that enough.
That is so painful. I'm like cringing.
I know. It hurt so badly.
Yes. Yes. So what do you think makes an award-winning application?
So I think anytime it can be something unique, that helps. I mean, that always can help you stand out. If it's something new or you tried something, you were, above and beyond that you've never done before, but that's not always possible. And there are everyday PR campaigns that go really great that can win awards. And I think what really makes the award-winning application is having clear and specific goals. So many people leave that out of an application. At the end, it's like, we got all these media hits and we did this podcast and we created this video series, but it never relates back to a goal. And if instead you state at the beginning, we want to get X media hits, we want to get in this publication, we want to create 3 videos, we want to engage this percentage of people on social, we want to increase our social following by this much, all of those specific goals are going to make you much more likely to win an award in the end when someone can say, oh, look, they set out to do this, they did that, or they did even better.
Well, and you recently, like in the past year, told me that. And I think that from my perspective of writing, it ends up helping you. It's like you automatically have an outline now to follow. Like, what are the goals? And are they tying back to someone's business goals, which hopefully they are. But you're able to sort of see the path, especially for awards applications that say you can have 1,000 words, which can be very daunting when you think, oh my God, like, what will I talk about? But I know that when I worked on an application that was like that, where there was no character count, you could write a book, and you said, well, relate it back to the goals. And I thought, oh, this is just really a roadmap for me to follow. And then, when you read through it, you think, well, not only did I do this cool thing, but I did achieve, X, Y, and Z goal for the association. And I just think that probably, as you're saying, like, the judges are like, wow, this is really good, as opposed to just one-off things that maybe don't tie together. This is a great way to tie them, I think. So do you think it's all about winning? Because a lot of people, I think, I am somebody who, you're a marathon runner, so you're about winning. I am watching television and I'm about, getting to the end of the last program. But my feeling is, can you do anything if you don't win? There's a lot of associations that think, well, I might not win. But is it all about winning?
Winning is nice. I played basketball in high school and college, and I had a coach who always said it's always more fun to learn when you're winning than learn when you're losing. But that said, it's not with the awards. One, I talked about the exercise to measure your efforts. So even if you don't win the award, you still have something you can go out and communicate with your members and your board members and anyone, any specific stakeholder that makes sense, to show that you had this great effort and this is what it did. So you have a deliverable you can still put out there. If you are named a finalist, if you win an honorable mention, you can tout that. No one's going to go in and look up and be like, oh, well, so-and-so got first place, you only got honorable mention. That's not, people don't have that kind of time in their hands. They don't care. They're just going to say, oh, cool, you were an honorable mention for, Reagan Daly's communication, nonprofit event award or something like that. So,
right.
It doesn't have to all be about winning. There are some other key objectives that can come out of creating the awards, and then winning at different levels and achieving different honors within the award itself.
Yeah. And you mentioned, sharing this with your members and everything. So if you do win an award or an honorable mention, how can you leverage it? So
tout the heck out of it is what I would say.
Yes.
A lot of times they provide you with toolkits, which help you along the way if you don't have the resources already. But it's as simple as, getting a badge for your website or your email signature. It's sending a member email. Let them know, this is something to be proud of and call out. You could do a blog post about it. Maybe it's a great podcast episode. You could feature some people on your staff that worked on it, or some of your members that were involved in that kind of a campaign, to highlight them and raise them up. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. Yeah.
That's great. I think this has been a great discussion. I think that I love working on awards. I know that you love judging them. So I feel like
that makes me sound like a terrible person.
No, you're so good at it. And I feel like this feedback, because everybody, there's, the people writing it, sometimes there's many of them, there's not many judges, and you don't always get a chance to get a conversation with the judge to hear, like, what should I be focusing on? What are you looking for? So I feel like, I hope that those listening today will, really appreciate this. I know I do.
Awesome. Well, really good conversation, and great to hear your perspective as well. So thanks to all our listeners for joining us today. We'd love to hear in some comments about what awards you're working on and what you're hoping to win. And other than that, we'll be in touch soon with our next episode. Thanks for tuning in.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. Thanks for listening to the Association 100 podcast, brought to you by the A100 Publishing Team, powered by Onward and Upward Marketing and Communications. You can subscribe to the Association 100 podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcasts, and all of your favorite podcast listening apps so you'll never miss out. Or listen via our website at theassociation100.com. Follow us on Twitter at Association100. That's Association100 for all the latest insights and trends impacting the world of associations. Thanks for tuning in.